You know what I think about every morning? Not every day. Every single morning. I wake up around 6:30, make my coffee, sit at the kitchen table, and I watch the sun come up over the Rockies. Beautiful view. We bought this house 32 years ago, raised our kids here, thought we'd spend our golden years here, traveling and enjoying life. But every morning I sit at that table and I think about $1,742. That's what hits my bank account on the third Wednesday of every month, Social Security. And I think about the $2,970 I could be getting. The difference, $1,228 every month for the rest of my life. My name is Robert. I'm 67 years old. And 5 years ago, I claimed Social Security at 62. It was the biggest financial mistake of my life. But this isn't a story about numbers. It's a story about a Saturday morning, a conversation with my oldest friend, and a decision that changed everything. Frank and I go back 42 years. We met in 1983 at Anderson's Hardware on Colfax. I was stocking shelves. He was running the paint department. We were both 25, had kids the same age. Our wives became best friends. We coached Little League together, watched each other's kids, went camping every summer up in Rocky Mountain National Park. For 40 years, Frank and I saw each other at least twice a week. That kind of friendship you don't find twice in a lifetime. So when Frank came over that Saturday morning in May 2019, I knew something was different. He pulled into my driveway around 8, earlier than usual. Linda was still in her robe making breakfast. Frank comes in, doesn't even wait for coffee. "Robert," he says, "I gotta show you something." He pulls out his phone, turns it around so I can see his bank account. $2,140, just deposited, Social Security. "I claimed it yesterday," he says. "At 62, I'm done waiting." Now Frank was different than me. Had always been the optimist, the guy who believed things would work out, but had also been through some health scares. A minor heart attack at 58, high blood pressure, diabetes he was managing. So when he said he was claiming, I understood. But then he leaned forward. "Robert, you're leaving free money on the table. Every month you wait is money you're never getting back. The government's broke. Social Security might not even be here in 10 years. Get yours while you can." And he said something else, something that stuck with me. He said, "Robert, we both know guys who died at 65, 66, never collected a dime. You think they're glad they waited." I sat there looking at Frank's phone. Linda was at the stove. I could hear her spatula scraping the pan, and I did the math in my head. If I claimed at 62, I'd get about $1,700 a month. If I waited until 67, my full retirement age, I'd get around $2,400 5 years. 5 years times 12 months times $1,700. That's over $100,000. How could walking away from $100,000 possibly be smart? I was still working part-time at the store, making about $30,000 a year. Linda had retired the year before. We had about $400,000 saved between my 401k and some CDs. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. But that $100,000, that felt real. That felt like something I couldn't walk away from. So 2 weeks later, I claimed. Linda didn't say much. She just looked at me across that same kitchen table and said, "Honey, I think we can afford to wait. We've got savings." But I was already decided. I filled out the forms online. It took maybe 20 minutes. And just like that, it was done. The first check came 6 weeks later, $1,742. I remember showing it to Linda. "See," I said, "free money." That first year felt good. That extra $1,700 a month meant we could do things. We drove out to Colorado Springs to see our daughter and the grandkids. Stayed for a week instead of a weekend. We bought a used F-150, fixed up the kitchen, put in new countertops Linda had wanted for years. Life felt good. Frank and I would sit on my back deck on Sunday afternoons, drink beer, watch the Broncos, both of us collecting our Social Security, feeling like we'd beaten the system. Then the second year things started shifting. Linda woke up one Tuesday morning. I heard her cry out from the bedroom. Her knee had given out, just buckled. We spent 6 hours in the emergency room that day. The doctor said she needed physical therapy, twice a week, $60 a session after Medicare. Linda went faithfully. I'd drive her every Tuesday and Thursday. Sit in that waiting room with the old magazines and the smell of antiseptic. Watch her work with the resistance bands, trying to get her knee strong again. $60 a visit, 2 visits a week. That's $480 a month. Then her arthritis medication. Her doctor switched her to a new one. Better, but more expensive, $150 a month. Our Medicare supplement insurance, $280. The dental work she needed that Medicare doesn't touch, $800. 1 month, we spent $1,200 on healthcare. I looked at that Social Security deposit, $1,742. After healthcare, we had $500 left. For everything else, that's when I started to feel it. That tightness, that awareness that money was closer than it should be. But the real pain came from something I didn't even know existed. The earnings test. See, I kept working at the hardware store. I liked working, liked the routine, the people. I was making $30,000 a year. What I didn't know, what nobody told me, was that if you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and you keep working, the government takes some of it back. For every $2 you earn over about $21,000, they reduce your benefit by $1. I was making $30,000. That meant they clawed back about $4,500 every year. Every year. For 3 years, until I turned 65 and finally retired. $4,500 times 3. $13,500. Money I thought was mine. Money I'd already counted on. Gone. I found out when I got a letter from Social Security. Very official, very polite, informing me that my benefits had been reduced. I called Linda into the kitchen. Read her the letter. She didn't say I told you so. She just put her hand on my shoulder. Last October, Frank had a heart attack, his second one. I was with him 2 days before. We were sitting right here on this deck, talking about the Broncos, making plans to go up to Estes Park when the aspens turned. He seemed fine, a little tired maybe, but fine. Then Donna called me at 6 in the morning. Her voice, I'll never forget her voice. Frank was gone. Heart attack in his sleep. He was 68 years old. Frank collected Social Security for 6 years. Not the 25 or 30 we thought we'd have. The funeral was on a Thursday. I gave the eulogy. Talked about 42 years of friendship. About camping trips and Little League games. About Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoon Broncos games. After the service, Donna pulled me aside. Robert, she said, I need to ask you something. About the Social Security. Frank claimed at 62. Does that affect what I get now? I didn't know what to tell her. So I went home and looked it up. Here is what I learned. When you die, your spouse gets a survivor's benefit, but it's based on what you are collecting. Frank was getting about $2,100 a month. If Head waited until 70, he would have been getting over $3,200. Donna's survivor benefit would have been based on that higher amount. Instead, she's getting about $1,400 a month. Frank's house, the one he and Donna bought in 1992, property taxes alone are $6,000 a year. Insurance is $3,000. That's $9,000. $750 a month before utilities, before food, before anything. Donna's living on $1,400. She's 70 years old, and she's working part-time at King Soopers, bagging groceries. Because Frank and I both thought we were being smart, getting our money while we could. Now I'm 67, my full retirement age, the age I should have waited for. If I had just waited, just been patient, I'd be getting $2,400 a month right now. Instead, I'm stuck at $1,742. That gap, $658 every single month for the rest of my life. Last month, I sat down with a calculator, did the real math. If I make it to 85, which is about average for a guy my age in decent health, at $1,742 a month, he'll collect about $376,000 total. If I'd waited until 70, I'd be getting $2,970. That's about $640,000 total. The difference, $264,000. $250,000. Because I was scared? Because I listened to Frank instead of thinking it through? Because I believed the myth that Social Security was going bankrupt? Linda and I had been talking about Alaska for years. She always wanted to see the glaciers. Take one of those small ship cruises. We had it all planned. We've canceled it twice now. First year because of her knee. Second year because when we looked at the cost, $8,000 for both of us. We just couldn't make it work. Not with healthcare costs. Not with the gap between what I'm getting and what we need. So we watch YouTube videos instead. Somebody else's cruise. Somebody else's glaciers. Our grandkids live in Colorado Springs. Hour-and-a-half drive. We used to visit every month. Stay for a few days. Now we see them on Zoom mostly. The gas, the eating out, the little gifts for the kids. It adds up faster than it should. When you're shorter on money than you expect it to be, you make different choices, smaller choices. Last week, our daughter asked if we wanted to come down for our grandson's birthday. Hayes turning 7. I wanted to say yes, but I looked at Linda, and I could see she was doing the math too. So we sent a card with $50, and we got on Zoom for the cake. I watched my grandson blow out his candles through a screen, because 5 years ago, I made a decision. That Saturday morning in May, when Frank showed me his phone, I wish I could go back to that kitchen, to that moment. Not to change what Frank did. That was his choice, his situation. But to change what I did, to have Linda's words land differently. Honey, I think we can afford to wait. We had $400,000 saved. If we'd lived on that for 5 years, spent say $150,000, we'd still have had $250,000 left. And I'd be getting that extra $1,200 a month for life. The return on delaying Social Security is about 8% a year. Where else can you get a guaranteed 8% return? Nowhere. Not in this market. Not safely. If I'd waited until 70, that extra $1,200 a month. Over 20 years if I make it to 90. That's $288,000 in additional income. For using $100,000 of our savings. $188,000 net gain. Instead, I grabbed the early money and locked us into permanent scarcity, not poverty. We're not poor, but scarcity. Always having to think about money. Always having to make smaller choices. Always aware of the gap. Frank used to say, you only live once. Get your money and enjoy it. And Hayes right about the first part. You only live once. But enjoyment, real enjoyment, that comes from security, from knowing you have enough, from not having to cancel the Alaska trip, or miss your grandson's birthday, or watch your wife work through pain because you can't quite afford the treatment she needs. And not saying everyone should wait until 70. There are real reasons to claim early. If you have serious health problems, if your parents died young, and you have reason to think you will too, then claiming early might make sense. If you have no savings, zero, and you literally cannot pay your rent without Social Security. Then you need that money now. But those weren't my reasons. I had $400,000 saved. I was in decent health. My dad lived to 87. My mom is 92. I claimed because I was scared. Because the friend I trusted most told me to. Because I did quick math in my head instead of real planning. Because I thought I was being smart. The thing about Social Security is it's one of the only decisions in retirement you can't undo. You claim, that's it. You're locked in. You can suspend it later and restart, but the damage is mostly done. That number follows you for life. $1,742. Every third Wednesday. For the rest of my life. I sit at my kitchen table every morning, watch the sun come up, and I think about what that extra $1,200 a month would mean. That's Linda getting the health care she needs without us worrying. That's seeing our grandkids in person instead of on Zoom. That's the Alaska cruise. That's security instead of scarcity. I think about Frank too. Almost every day. I miss him. Miss those Sunday afternoons. Miss having someone who knew me that long. But I also think about Donna, bagging groceries at 70, because we both made the same mistake. I can't change my decision, but maybe you can make a different one. Maybe you can ask the questions I didn't. Do you really need the money now? Or are you just scared? Can you afford to wait? Even if it means spending some savings. Do you understand the real numbers? Not the quick math. The real lifetime difference. If you're married, have you thought about your spouse? About what happens when one of you is gone? You've learned something in these 5 years. Patience and security are worth more than early money and constant worry. I wish I'd known that then. I know it now, every morning. At $1,742 a time,